So why do we procrastinate when it's around things that we're pretty certain that we do really want and we know are really important to us? Because surely, like, if something is really important to us, then it should be pretty easy to motivate ourselves to actually go and do what we need to do in order to achieve this thing that we're certain that we want to create in our lives. And the reality is, it's not always that simple. Sometimes we can get ourselves really stuck in a bit of a rut, and we can end up being quite critical on ourselves and beat ourselves up and feeling guilty about not taking the actions that we need to take to become the person that we know we want to be. And so I want to share with you today a couple of tips, strategies, solutions that have really helped me and a lot of people who I've worked with over the years to get through challenging times, procrastination, and ultimately move forwards towards achieving their goals. Now, we've got to recognize that when we're procrastinating, one of the main reasons for that is to do with our self-image and our belief and how we see our reality, and also how we see the future self that we're trying to become. Because our mind, our subconscious mind, call it, let's talk about the ego, for example. So the ego as a construct of the mind is designed to keep us safe, keep us comfortable, keep us within our comfort zones, because in biological terms, that ultimately means survival. We call it the saber-toothed tiger response, where humans from long time ago who wanted to go out exploring over mountains and venturing out into the wilds and so on and so forth, because they had like an adventurous spirit to push outside their comfort zones, were much more likely to die and therefore not reproduce and not pass on their genetic trait of adventurism, or whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to pull that down because I've got the sun covering my face a little bit. So if this trait is biologically wired in us to keep us safe within our comfort zones and within what we know, then this is partly what explains why the mind will make it so difficult for us to go ahead and take actions that are going to push us into new territory, into unknowns, and do things that we've never done before. Because to us, like in there, that's really scary if we're venturing into unknown territory. So our mind wants to keep us safe. So that means that little voice in our head is going to do a really, really, really good job at convincing us that we should stay safe and we should not do the things that we know are going to move us into new territory. And often we'll talk about, in entrepreneurship, we can talk about fear of success. The fear of success can actually be more damaging a lot of the times for people than fear of failure, because at least with fear of failure, we're consciously aware that that's what the fear is. But with fear of success, it can often be something that's just going on subconsciously in the background, and we can't even see it. We don't even know it's happening to us. And so when we're procrastinating and we're stuck in this space where we're just not doing the thing that we know that we want to do, often it's this wiring in our minds that's stopping us. So what we've got to do is start to create an environment that makes success automatic. Now, the first step towards doing that is to get crystal clear about what it is you're trying to create, what type of life you're trying to create, and why you want to create that type of life. Because if you don't know why, when it gets hard and when it gets challenging and when the voice in your head pipes up and tries to stop you doing the things that you need to do, it will beat you every single time. If your why isn't big enough, that little voice in your head will overpower you when your willpower is low and when you don't really want to go to the gym because you've been doing it for 2 months and it's really tiring, you've had a hard day at work and you just want to chill out on the sofa just for one night, and whatever the story is, that story's going to eventually win. You have to know why you're trying to do what you're trying to do, right? So in business, getting crystal clear about where you're going and why you're going there is really important. Now, the other thing as well is, if you're finding that you're really struggling to take those actions that you know you need to take, we've got to start tapping into who it is that we want to become and why we're worthy of becoming that person. We have to start to dial up the belief in ourselves that we are capable of becoming that person. Because if we don't believe that we are able to be that person, to our subconscious mind and that biological wiring, that is terrifying, Because not only are we going into the unknown, we're going into the unknown, and we don't believe that we're even capable of handling that unknown. We don't believe that we're going to be able to survive that unknown. So that voice in our head and the emotions that our body will make us feel when we think about doing the things that we need to do is designed to keep us paralyzed, keep us stuck, and keep us safe, right? Because our body and our mind is designed to protect us, so it's going to try and stop us doing those things. It's going to make us feel, real resistance, and that's why we procrastinate. We just really don't want to do it because what we're venturing into is scary. So a way around this is when you're focusing on what you want to achieve and you're getting crystal clear about what you want to achieve, take a minute to then set goals and think about, when you're that type of person, what goals would you set next? What would you do after that? What would then the next steps be? Because believe me, if your goal is to build an online business and create time and financial freedom to then go and travel the world, don't kid yourself that you're going to be happy traveling the world for the next 30 years. I tell you from experience, that's not going to happen. Give it 6 to 9 months or so, and then it will you'll reach the point where you feel, right, I've explored this part of my life. I've been doing this for quite a while. I've been enjoying myself. This is now the norm. Now what am I aiming towards? And you might find that the material stuff really doesn't motivate you that much. Like more money in the bank account, it doesn't drive me to get out of bed anymore. So I need more purpose-driven goals. I've got to understand, what would the person who I want to be when I achieve my goals, what then would they value in their life? What then would they look to create? What steps would they take? How would they move forwards from that space, right? Put some time into thinking about that and really stepping into that person, and that's just going to give a bit more certainty to that voice in your head, your subconscious mind, right? Because then the survival instinct isn't going to kick in so much if you know that you've got more clarity about the type of person, and you're going to be safe because you're setting these new goals to move forwards. You're getting a bit of an understanding of what your environment's like. You're feeling what it's like to become that person, which in turn is going to dial up your belief. Because if you don't have the belief, if you don't believe that you're able to do it, you're not going to do it, right? And this, quotes have been thrown around literally for 100 years. Whether you believe you can or you can't, you're probably right. Henry Ford. And there's variations of that quote, which we'll hear time and time and time again, because belief is so, I can't stress it enough, so important, right? We've got to be able to dial into that belief. So, to clarify, crystal clear about where you're going. When you then reach your goals, what then would be your goals, right? And how can you focus on dialing up the belief and trusting yourself and believing yourself that you're going to achieve the goals that you say you're going to achieve? And I have a strategy. I call it my crystal ball strategy. And if you've been following me a while, chances are you've heard me talk about this, probably more than once, because it's so damn powerful. And that is, you ask yourself, if I had a crystal ball and I knew beyond any doubt whatsoever that everything that I'm looking to achieve, every goal that I'm working towards, in 12 months time, I'm going to achieve that, I'm going to be living that life, right? If you knew with utter certainty that that's the life that you would be living, there's no doubts, no ifs, no buts, 100% done. If you knew with certainty that that was going to come to pass, what actions would you take in this moment to move you closer to that? Knowing that there's no risk, knowing that you can't fail. And if you would take different actions right now than the actions that you are currently taking because of fear, then that means that the belief isn't there yet. You've got to find a way to step into that trust of yourself, and just trust that if you refuse to quit no matter what, you will either succeed or you will die trying, right? And that is a fact. You can fail 1,000 times, but if you never quit, no matter what, and you keep moving forwards and you refuse to give up until you reach your goal, if you know that you're that certain you won't quit, then you already have the crystal ball, right? You already have that belief. If you're never going to quit, your success is 100% guaranteed. So what actions would you take if you had the crystal ball? And then go and take those actions. Okay, and final couple of tips. If you're banging your head against the table, you've got a task you're working on, you're procrastinating, you're just not really getting anywhere, particularly if it's a creative task, just go out. That's what I'm doing now. I'm going to work in a hotel because it's just a change of scenery. right? Give yourself a change of scenery, give yourself a break, and just get out of the space that you're in, and that can often, you know, reignite just a bit of creativity in you, and then give you a bit more drive and motivation to then go and achieve whatever it is that you're working on, whatever it is that you want to achieve. All right, so basically take the time to choose to believe in yourself, choose that you are worthy of creating whatever life that you want to create, because you are. If someone else has done it before you, you can do it. There's no reason that you can't if someone else has done it. And then make that decision, make that choice, give yourself a break from your current scenery if you need it, and hopefully that's going to help you keep working forwards and driving on those goals to achieve that life. All right, thanks very much for watching. I hope this gives you a couple of strategies and ideas to really help you dial into the reasons why you're doing it and how to overcome that procrastination. But I will see you in another video. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.